Hey listeners, Mallory Wilsey here, Chief Producer of the Enrollify Network. I get the privilege of working alongside all of our creators at Enrollify, but I wanted to take just a quick moment to tell you about why I love the Talking Tactics podcast hosted by Diana Kibbolds. Every other Tuesday, Day drops a new episode where she focuses on a single tactic that moved the needle on any enrollment metric, from inquiries and booth visitors to apps completed and deposits, even registrations, you name it. The catch? The tactic had to be done with limited resources, either by a single person or a small but mighty team, or limited time, or maybe without a lot of money. The podcast format is fun and engaging, and it's just different from the more traditional 60-minute interview style shows. If you work in enrollment management or marketing, be sure to give Day's show a listen. You can subscribe to the show by visiting podcast.enrollify.org or just search Talking Tactics wherever you get your podcasts.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome to Higher Ed Pulse, your Monday morning energizer covering insights and trends in higher ed marketing and enrollment. I'm Mallory Wilsey, bringing over 15 years of ed tech and marketing expertise to your earbuds.
And I'm Seth Odell, joining the Pulse with my own adventures from leading marketing at top universities to founding Kanahoma, one of the industry's fastest growing digital marketing agencies.
Each week, we bring you the kind of insider insights you typically only find over cocktails with your pals at a conference.
It's fast, it's fun, and it's designed for you, the busy higher ed professional.
You're not just listening to another podcast.
You're checking the pulse of higher education.
Higher Ed Pulse is part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher ed professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. All right, we are here live at CUPRAP, and I have a very special guest with me today, Kevin Renton of Electric Kite and Volt. Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Hey, Mallory, thanks for having me.
All right, so we're here to do a little Enrollify Volt crossover, two of the best resources, I would say, in this industry for professional development. Tell us a little bit more about Volt, though. Introduce it to our listeners.
Sure. So to give the backstory, we've actually just rebranded the agency Electric Kite. So that kind of dates how long that rebranding's been in the works, because the Volt name came from that. There was meant to be a tie-in with the agency. And the background was we did a lot of inbound marketing for the agency, and our blog was very higher ed. I'll give Steve Appa a shout out from Simpson Scarborough. He ran our blog at that time. And then the idea was to move the agency blog into its own magazine. And that was the origin story. So we knew we were going to rebrand the agency. We moved our blog into Volt, and we really started our content marketing through the magazine. And it was interesting. When we first started, Higher Ed Live was around, but then Higher Ed Live kind of disappeared. So there was a period where I used to say that we were, the number one higher ed marketing magazine in the US, because we were the only higher ed marketing magazine in the US. Now Enrollify's here. So we've got a friend, we've got a partner, we've got someone to go, hey, look what they're doing. We need to, pull our socks up. So it's great.
I love that. What are your goals for this year? Are there any content, themes, or topics that you're really going to focus on?
It's funny, and you'll know this as well with Element, and you've got Enrollify, you've got two jobs going on, and it pulls you in different directions. So the agency's actually been a big focus for us in the last 12 months because we've rebranded. But now that's behind us, you can feel the energy in the agency to get back onto Volt. We need a couple of things. We're going to need a new tech rebuild. We need a new website. Our technology is like 4 or 5 years old behind that build, so we're going to have to invest in that, which will be fun because it kind of drives the content types that you're going to create and build and focus on as well. The other things that we've done in the past, we estimated 3 years ago, I don't know if it was pre-COVID or after COVID, that we were going to maybe do our own conference. And then I was like, nah, I got 2 day jobs. I don't need a third day job. So I think this year we're looking to partner closer with conferences. We've been coming to CUPRAP for, 5, 6, 7 years. And even next year, I think we may get involved more with the content at the conference. But we're going to NAGAP this year. We're going to ICAM. We had a great time at AMA last year, but we're going to have a bigger presence at AMA this year in Vegas, so that'll be fun. So our conference strategy is going to be one in creating the content. I also think the content that we're producing, we've created them already, where, just a broad name, almost like case study corners, where we're getting vendors to present with their clients. I think one of the things when you actually come to a conference, there's some great presentations, and that content lives for that conference and then disappears. Like, can we capture that content type where, Concept 3D present with their vendor, like, okay, this is how the product works in the wild. Or we're doing one with Han and Hill and Cascade. Hey, this is how this works in the wild. Campus Sonar have just done one as well. So we're going to develop that content type. The other content type that we've priced out, I'm not sure if we're going to pull it out. So it'll be one of these things where it might happen, it might not, but we kind of want to produce a print magazine.
What?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So print is something. So I published the magazine for 5 years in Canada. And Aaron, who's the editor of Vol, is, he's a journalist and from print. And even Matthew, our art director, he comes from print. So we all have a passion for print. But you've got to make something that's timeless. You've got to make something that somebody wants to keep. So we're still in ideation mode for it, but we're excited.
That's awesome. Hey, I remember last summer you sent one of your writers to our Engage Summit. We loved that coverage and really appreciated just the Volt presence, and that was really cool. So when you mentioned NAGAP and AMA, are you going to continue that kind of live conference coverage?
Yeah, I think we're even going to ramp it up. Like, I think it's, giving people insights to the conference. I noticed you posted something about your GPT that you're going to do at your session, and you get the reaction for everybody that's not at the conference.
That's it.
People still follow and know that the conferences are going on and want to see, hey, what's going on in the community. So I think if we can break down those barriers a little bit and give people access and insight to the conferences, I think it'll drive interest in the conferences and raise their profile.
Awesome. So I have to ask, because I switch my hats between Enrollify and Element 451, depending on the hour.
Yep.
So with my Element 451 hat on, I'm really curious, is there any plans to cover artificial intelligence? I
think AI is an interesting thing at the moment. I think Element, what you guys have got going, there's a lot of talk going on in the industry, and even coming to this conference and speaking to people about, hey, how they're going to integrate it. It's really great that you guys are at the forefront of that discussion. And I think even your product as well, like as an agency, we're putting a proposal in at the moment where we're going to partner with you guys to actually put that product out, which is great. And it's great that the team at the agency have the trust in your product and think, no, this is the leader and this is who we should be going with, which is fantastic. The one thing that I would like to see more about with AI, I'd like to see an awareness of AI safety. And what I mean by that, in the sense of, I think it will become an issue on campuses over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, as we get a bigger understanding of AI safety. Like, I'm using it in my day-to-day and I love it. And it really helps me and enables me to be more productive. But I think we need leaders, especially in higher ed, to be aware of AI safety and what that's going to mean for everybody. Because I think the talent in universities are going to have to engage in this issue. So it becomes a bigger issue.
Yeah, I've noticed some institutions have already started to create VP level or above positions for AI. And I'm slowly starting to hear institutions talk about developing AI policies. I think you're right. I think it's going to be a bigger topic as the year progresses, as more people start utilizing it. We need better guardrails as people start figuring this out. And, a very well-intentioned staff member may not know that they shouldn't be uploading a large CSV file with all sorts of PII on their students into ChatGPT. Right. And so the education and the training of the on-campus employees alongside a really clear and articulate AI policy, I think is going to be necessary for every institution before this year's out. In fact, and you mentioned this, I am presenting at CUPRAP with Jamie Hunt, and a big focus of her part of our presentation is how you encourage exploration, but do it safely.
So Volt's goals, what about Enrollify? What are you going to get up to?
Putting me on the spot.
Yeah, come on.
Kevin, we haven't slept since we acquired
Killing it.
Enrollify. I think listeners know by now, but Element 451 officially took Enrollify over last November 2023. In it's been 5 months that have followed.
Yep.
We took the network from 8 active podcasts to 16. We're investing in different content types this year, like blogging and webinars and panels, and featuring our creators in those spaces as another space where they can come together and talk about issues that, often are already overlapping between their podcasts, but from their different perspectives.
I'm interested from a publishing point of view because it's something that I've always like, are we doing the right thing? The fact that you've really owned the podcasting space, because the advice is take a content type and really own it. Do you find that you get more leverage, or do you think when you go into blogging or webinars, do you think it will be diluted?
That's a good question. For me, it's about giving people the opportunity to consume the content in the space that they would prefer to consume it in. And I'll admit, I was not early personally on the podcast listening trend. I ran Higher Ed Live. I now run Enrollify, 2 of the best podcast networks in this industry. But my dirty little secret is I don't listen to a lot of podcasts outside of these 2 networks. And maybe my Love is Blind or Survivor reality TV podcasts. So there's been a lot of education for myself over the last 6 months, but I also use myself as the example of someone who sometimes would rather just read the blog post or listen to the panel talk about it live on the webinar.
I totally agree with you. If you use yourself as the guinea pig and how you consume the media, I'm the same. I don't listen to lots of podcasts, but I listen to one called The Rest is Politics. It's a UK political podcast, Alistair Campbell and Rory Stewart. It's a fantastic podcast, but the way that they cut up their content, because what I actually do, they create 10-minute podcasts. That's what I listen to. And if I actually like it, then I go and listen to the hour and 30 minutes.
Fascinating.
But just to start and listen to an hour and 30-minute podcast,
it's a lot to ask a listener.
You get in 5 minutes and you're like, I don't know.
Right.
I'm in bail from this. So yeah, it's interesting how to cut up the content to what the listener actually wants.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, it has been so nice to chat with you today. Thank you for taking a few minutes away from the conference to connect with me and our Enrollify listeners. And, we look forward to continuing to partner with Volt throughout the year and wish you and your future print magazine.
Yeah, if we get there.
Best of luck.
But yeah, always, cheering Enrollify on. Element 451's killing it. So yeah, it's great to see you at CUPRAP and hopefully see you at other conferences.
Amazing. Bye-bye. The Higher Ed Pulse is part of the Enrollify Podcast Network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our show helps higher ed marketers and admission pros find their next big idea and features a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Brian Gross, Eddie Francis, Jenny Lee Fowler, and so many of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.